This man's name is Lisa Thomson, 24 Highland Avenue. Okay. I'm here to voice my support for the proposed amendment for the coastal zone and to add the certified mail notice requirement to neighbors abutting across the street or next door to the coastal parcel under development. I wish the notification would go further, but I consider this a good first start. Various coastal neighborhoods in Norwalk, in my neighborhood, Rowayton, we're finding ourselves under severe threat from overbuilt residential McMansions and oversized docks. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that in the last 18 years that I've lived in that part of town, that our once small, quaint fishing village, you cannot see the waterfront along 5 Mile River or Farm Creek. It's unfortunate because I have become a student of the master plan, and not just Mr. Mushak, but I've started reading it. And there are multiple clauses in the Norwalk Master Plan that refer to balancing economic growth with our environment, with the character of the neighborhoods, as well as preserving the environment and public view of the coastal waters. I found 28 clauses in the master plan that refer to protecting in the spirit of what we wanted to do in Norwalk. And I found 16 references to our governments and the desire for our government to proactively try to protect our waterfront, at least in the spirit. It may not be legally binding, but it certainly was in the spirit of what we're trying to do with us being a coastal town. For the past decade, it seems that the majority of our planning and zoning board have preferred to focus on the advocacy of individual property rights at the expense of neighbors. But my question to you is, aren't neighbors property owners too? And I find it a little concerning that it seems to be the only time that we are really concerned about individual property rights is during the development phase, if there's a new proposed development. But we don't seem to care about property rights on an ongoing life cycle of a particular parcel of land. I believe it's long overdue to have an amendment like this to at least notify the neighbors of any future development that is going to impact the coast, so that we can protect the waterfront and our environment and the spirit of the neighborhood, and perhaps start moving in the direction of living into the spirit of our master plan. I do think this is a good start. I am concerned that there is this no vote from the commission, and I am concerned that we don't know what that vote was. I think we need to move towards more transparency as we move forward and the development of our town, and I do think this is a good first start, and I strongly encourage the zoning commission to vote in favor of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson, question?
Yes.
You said it's a good first step a couple of times. What do you foresee is a better step forward?
I'd like to see us more actively preserving our waterfront. We can't. Rowayton, I can speak for my neighborhood. I can't speak for Harborview or other coastal or Village Creek or other neighborhoods. But I've been in Rowayton for 18 years, and you've got three-story buildings. You can't see 5 Mile River anymore. It was a little fishing village. We are increasingly not being able to see Farm Creek, other than select, unless you're at Bailey Beach. That is when you can see Long Island Sound. And I appreciate the value of our property. I know there's a clause also in the master plan that talks about maximizing the grand list. And I sometimes think that Rowayton has borne its share of the grand list for funding our city. But I wonder at what point in time we ruin the quaint coastal fishing village when you can't see the water anymore and it becomes a walled city. And I don't live on the water. Okay, I live in a place where I have to dodge flying Porsches. For those of you who know where I live. So I'm not on the waterfront. I've seen a lot of the discussions on the coastal waterfront turn into NIMBYism, neighbors fighting. I'm not a neighbor on the water. I'm just someone who thinks I live near a coastal community, but increasingly you can't see it. And so I'm just asking for reasonable voting. I don't want to take away anyone's property rights. I don't want anyone taking away my property rights. But at some point in time, and I look to you folks as zoning members, that we've got to protect our coastal water. We've got an issue popping up over, there was a Thursday at Cliff Place where there's a discussion about a dock going in. And one person has a dock, and so then another person says, well, they've got a dock. Why don't I put a dock? Well, what happens when the house that's 45 feet down the road, I want to put in a dock, and pretty soon within, if you've got 40 houses, you've got 40 docks there, and we've ruined the community. And so I just think at some point in time we may need to be doing some grandfathering, which is trying to protect that area, and that's all. I believe everyone has a right to, their domain, but I think we've been maybe, we need to put the brakes on. The pendulum swings one way, maybe we kind of need to swing it back a little bit. And notifying neighbors, I said, is a first step, because then you can have some dialogue about responsibles. Not ever saying, no, you can't do something, but it's trying to reach a happy medium. I'm concerned, Mr. Green, that you don't know what the vote was in the Planning Commission. We're the public here, and someone just says, no, I'm not going to tell, the neighbors don't get to know what someone's going to do to their property until they hear the jackhammer. It just doesn't seem very genuine or what is it, sincere or honest or ethical.
Well, to be fair, the Planning Commission has public meetings, just like we have public meetings. Everything is on the record. So
It's kind of a cat and mouse about knowing that when that is.
Well, there's two separate commissions. It's like we don't know what goes on with them.
Well, Mr. Green, don't you don't remember how that went or what the vote was?
I don't remember who was there.
It was a unanimous vote to not ever let the neighbors know what someone's doing. All I can say, there's two little things, and then I'll sit down. Mr. Mushak, someone was all over his butt when it came to a flower pot. And I know that I was the subject of when I had a banner, when I talked about reforming planning and zoning, it's hanging on my stone wall of my private property. The city was out on me like a flash. And I guess what I'm just trying to struggle with is we seem to be really keen on property rights when it's about development and revenue for the city. But we seem to throw away property rights when it comes to, all these various rules and regulations we may have about, you can't have a banner on your wall or you can't have a flower pot. I'm just a simple, resident. I just am trying to reconcile that in my mind, that's all. The property rights are property rights then.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm Seeley, Hubbard. I live at 28 Bryan Road in Norwalk. And what I have to say is that I'm in support of this amendment also. And what I can't understand is why anybody would oppose this. This is something that just lets people know what is going on. I think it helps you who have to make these decisions, because the more transparency that you have, the more that people know what you're doing, the more they understand, and I think it makes your job a lot easier. The fact that anybody would oppose this, oppose giving information to property owners who are on the waterfront, it boggles my mind, because it seems to me that the burden on the person who's making these applications is not that great. I mean, you require for your applications, I know that certified mail or whatever goes out to all these people. The fact that anybody would want to tap down information going out to the people who are most affected by these applications is just ridiculous to me. It makes no sense. And the fact that anybody would oppose this, it seems to me, would just cast a pall over what you do, because it seems to me that you just don't want these people to get information as to what's going to happen to their property who are close to whatever is going to be going on. And I have been very much involved with coastal area management. I'm very, it's obviously part of what is now prominent because of global warming and everything else that's going on the coast and what's going on in all these neighborhoods. I mean, it seems to me that for what your job is, and also with the planning, and I don't know what happened in the planning commission, but for you to oppose giving more information to people who are on the coast whose properties are affected, to me just doesn't make any sense.
Thank Sir?
Hello again, Mike Mushak, 50 Elmwood Avenue, licensed landscape architect, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, former zoning commissioner. The bike walk stuff doesn't really matter here, so I won't mention it. I'm fascinated by comments that were just made because there is a sense of arrogance towards the public, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. So that's all I'm going to say. And it didn't exist 20 years ago. Connecticut Harbor Management Act of 1984 was passed in Hartford. Whoever was running the planning and zoning department at that time wasted no time to have Norwalk jump on that. And we had, in the same year that that act was passed, we had passed our own harbor management plan, approved by the state. And we put it in our charter. It's part of our city charter. And the master plan, actually, which is very interesting, our city master plan says in B23, implement the goals and policies of the Coastal Management Act, which is CAM, the Coastal Area Management Plan, and the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan. Now that says Norwalk Harbor, but the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan covers all coastal areas in Norwalk except for the 5 Mile River, which has its own harbor commission. Nobody really knows why they haven't made their own harbor management plan. They are allowed to under statute. They're instructed to, but they've chosen never to have one. They should. But Belle Island, all the way around, all coastal areas of Norwalk are covered under the Norwalk Harbor Management Plan. And our master plan says that this is adopted. This plan is adopted. Now, one of the big things of that plan is ensure that new development and facilities on and or contiguous to the harbor do not adversely affect the character of shorefront communities. That's a goal of the harbor management plan. Another one, accept that the waterfront has a limited capacity, which is also called carrying capacity, to support use and development. Another goal, very important, provide a continuing public forum for the presentation and discussion of all concerns, including the concerns of shore area residents, related to the quality and character of shorefront neighborhoods. That's what this amendment does. This fulfills the goal of the harbor management plan, which is part of our master plan, and should have been done 20 years ago. I served on this commission for 6 years. I never once heard the term harbor management plan. In fact, the planning and zoning staff is the staff to the harbor commission. And the harbor commission hasn't had a member of the planning and zoning staff at one of their meetings in 6 years. 6 years. Nobody from this, it is in the charter that this staff is supposed to be over at the Harbor Management Commission, and they are supposed to be coordinating, let me read. They are supposed to make sure that all city agencies, including the Planning Commission and Zoning Commission, with harbor management responsibilities, carry out their responsibilities consistent with the goals, objectives, guidelines, and recommendation established in the plan. This is the law.
Mr. Mushak, you're getting off course here.
No, this is I'm reading to you what the law.
Talking about this notification about harbor management, you're getting off course.
No. I just explained to you that the planning and zoning staff is supposed to be working with the Harbor Commission to, as I just explained.
What's it got to do with this notification?
This notification fulfills goals and objectives of the Harbor Management Plan to include the public, as I just read, and that would be right here. Provide a continuing public forum in the presentation and discussion of all concerns, including the concerns of shore area residents, I'm repeating myself, related to the quality and character of shorefront neighborhoods. I think that any development that is in the CAM area certainly is within this jurisdiction. And I really would like to know why this whole responsibility, by the way, the Harbor Management Plan is approved by the state. It was formulated here and sent back and approved by the legislature. It has teeth. It has enforcement teeth. And basically, as far as I can tell, the Norwalk Planning and Zoning Department has given up its state responsibilities to coordinate and inform people and let them know what's going on. This is across the board. Anyway, I don't want to be so negative. I support this. You should vote for it. And as far as the Planning Commission voting it down, inexcusable.